there's about 4 feet of snow. That's dedication. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the easiest and fastest way to make your own standalone engine harness for your project. I have a 2004 Silverado 2500. Ignore the door, it was replaced at one point. But it has a 6-liter LQ4. It doesn't matter if you have a 4.8, 5.3 or 6-liter harness. You can mix match them to whatever engine you have as long as they have the same style PCM connector. The PCM connectors are either red and blue or green and blue. Also, keep in mind that if you do mix match your harness and your engine, your PCM will need to be tuned if the displacement is different. The stock harness is fully intact. I'm going to carefully remove it and then I can start simplifying it. Alright, so I got the harness removed. I just have to pull it out. The first step is to have a nice open workspace. This will make your life a lot easier and it won't be as confusing. Then carefully lay out the harness so that all the wires aren't tangled together. Once it's all laid out, start taking off all the wire loom and tape. After you take the tape and wire loom off, this is what you're left with. It may look daunting to some of you, but don't worry, it's not actually that complicated once you dive in. Sometimes these fuse blocks are stubborn, it's hard to take them out. All you have to do is you push on one side and then you push on the other side, start wiggling, and they should pop out. You want to take these plastic covers off of the connectors. All you have to do is you pinch these 2 clips on either side and it pops out. Same thing on the other side. Go ahead and clean up your connectors. There's little numbers for every wire. You're going to use those numbers to identify which wire you have to remove. With clean connectors, now you should be able to read the numbers. Those numbers are what you need in order to know which wire to remove. You also want to pop off the blue caps. You just have to push a little tab with a flathead screwdriver on the end and on the other end as well, and it pops off. Now you're ready to remove all the unnecessary wires. To know which wire to remove, you're going to go on lt1swap.com. You're going to find these sheets. I'll leave a link in the description. And these are sheets to tell you exactly which wire you need to remove, which ones you need to keep. There's a blue sheet and a green sheet, both for your blue PCM connectors and for your green PCM connectors. And if you have an older style PCM with the blue and red connectors, there is a red sheet as well. To use the sheet, it's very simple. The pins that are highlighted yellow need to be removed. They're not important. And then all the pins that are highlighted blue, they are important and you need to keep those in order for your harness to work. Then there's 10 highlighted pins. Those are optional. You can see whether you need those in your project or not. So this is the blue connector. The first wire you want to remove on the 2003 to 2007 truck is the pin connector number 7. That is a gray wire. It's highlighted yellow on your sheet. So this is the wire I want to remove. All I do is you grab the base of the wire, you go on the other end, and you just push on the wire, and you see the pin come up. You pull it through, and then you leave it there. Now go through the list of all the wires you need to remove and do the exact same thing as this one. So I've pulled through all the wires I need to take out of the harness. All you have to do now is you individually cut off all of these pins. And then you can pull the wire back through the other end. And then just remove it from the harness. Do that for the rest of the wires. All the wires are gone on this blue connector. Now it's time to do the exact same thing with the green connectors. While you were removing wires from your harness, you may have noticed that some of these connectors have only one wire that was removed and the other one still intact somewhere in the harness. The reason for this is because they are grounds. They're always black. If you follow them back, they go to splice packs, and you simply just want to cut them close to the splice pack, and then you'll put some heat shrink or something to cover those up. Next up, you want to move over to this C2 fuse block. There's a lot of wires you're going to need to remove. You can actually reuse this with the original fuse block, but I don't find that makes a nice job. So for this application, we're going to be making a new fuse block. Again, on the side here, there's little numbers. Those are the numbers you're going to need to follow. And then on the top, there's letters A, B, C, D, E, and F. Most of these pink wires are going to be used, so just follow along to your sheet. Make sure you label the wires you need and then remove the rest. Everything's cut off the C2 block, and I labeled everything. After you're done with this block, you move over to the C100. You just simply cut it off, and then you label every wire that goes over to the PCM, and then any wire that goes off to a connector, you just want to remove it. Now everything's labeled. If you had a drive-by-wire harness, you're left with this. You can either keep it if you're going to have drive-by-wire, or if you want drive-by cable, just remove it and remove the pins from the PCM connectors. Once you're done removing and labeling every wire, go around your harness, and any connector that only has the ground attached, trace it back to the splice pack and then cut it off. So after you've removed all the grounds from the connectors downstream in the harness, you should have 2 left that you'll need to ground on the back of the block. If these aren't making a good connection, you're gonna have some problems. Come back to your main connectors here for your PCM, go through your list, separate every wire that's highlighted blue, and then start labeling them. After following your sheet on the blue connectors, you should be left with OBD2, or serial data, cruise, your fused battery feed. There's also one more that I have labeled here, and it's your off-run crank position. And on the green connectors, you should be left with RPMs, your fuel pump relay, vehicle speed, and your engine light. There, that's all the wires removed. Every connector is going to be used from now on. The tricky thing now is that every application is different. So to know where to route your wires, you're going to kind of have to plan ahead for your project and figure out where you want to place your PCM so that you have enough wire to reach. Now you just want to go ahead and clean up every wire, put tape, and then you can start putting some loom back on. But again, since everything is kind of unique to your own project, I'll just go ahead and show you what I'm doing, but you don't have to necessarily copy that. There you have it. That's how you make a standalone engine harness for your project. Hopefully you learned something from this video and you're a little less intimidated by these harnesses, because it's very doable, and once you get started, it's not that complicated.